I must be going deaf because my ear thing sounds really low today.
Oh, wow.
And like the volume's fine. What's up, everybody? It's that time again. Welcome to Kiss Meets Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I am Luke Neely.
All right. This week we wrap up the 90s up until the last Kiss album, 2010s, if you will. Only 8 albums this time. We decided to cut the fat out. We wanted to stick more to the true discography, so we cut out the stuff like You Wanted the Best and the disc 2 of Sonic Boom, and even like the Millennium Concert in Vegas, all that stuff. We just too much of the same old. Those are basically just compilations and greatest hits again. So we wanted to just stick to more of the core, stuff. Some of you may say, well, what about Unplugged? Well, Unplugged's different enough to kind of count as its own thing, and it is considered, part of the true discography. Plus, it was such a special show in the Kiss history anyway. It definitely deserves to be in there.
For sure.
So you can argue all you want. We'll fight you. No. Hope everyone's doing great, man. Jump over to our buddies Kiss and Tale, Tale. Go to their YouTube channel. Check out their show. Luke and I were guests on there again this past week. The show is up now. I believe the link is also posted in our Facebook group, so you can definitely find it. Did some music trivia, had a good time, and always fun to sit and laugh and have a good time with those guys, man. They're something else. I didn't know Chris is a walking giant, man. He said he's like 6'6", and so I was like, man, I thought he was a midget or something. The way he looked on camera.
Wow, yeah, I had no idea. That's hilarious.
So remind me not to try to body slam him if I ever see him in person.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Chris the Giant. Okay, let me try to get my camera here. Jeez. Doesn't matter. All right. Wow. So nothing really going on in the news this week. Everything's kind of calmed down except for again, we're getting all these rumors of Ace is definitely gonna perform with Kiss this time and blah blah blah. It's gonna happen for sure now and yada yada. Just like from the very, very, very beginning, a year or two ago when we heard this, I'll believe it when I see it. That's just how I feel at this point.
Yeah.
So, hey, I do hope it happens. It'll be great. The Alice Cooper and Ace Frehley tour has started up since the last time you saw us. Ace's set list looking pretty good. Definitely a lot of Kiss, classics in there, and obviously a few things from his solo album and whatnot, and even he's been throwing in some covers from the Origin stuff, so nice little mix of everything there. And they're actually coming to town here on this coming Tuesday, the 28th. Definitely going to that. Can't wait to see it. It'll actually be my first time seeing Alice Cooper in concert as well, so I figured, why not get that stone out of the way, since I've never seen him either. Definitely deserve to see him at least once. He puts on a good theatrical show. I assume he still does to this day. So, and then of course Nita Strauss, is an amazing guitar player. Be cool to see. So, looking forward to that. Definitely know a lot of people going. If anybody that's watching that's in the area, let me know if you guys plan on making that show, or if the show is coming to your area, what one you're going to. All right, so polls, and did we have any comments?
Oh, hey, that's a great question. I, for some reason, spaced looking at the comments in the last episode. Let's do that real quick.
Good idea. Yeah.
Oh man.
I have been. I'm failing. I know I keep talking about I'm going to sit and make these playlists for all the old videos on our channel to make it easier for everybody. Promise I will get to it. It's on my mind. It's just one of them things, I will get to it.
Absolutely. Looks like we did get one comment from Thomas, Rain in Adamstown, good buddy, longtime viewer there, who gave us his rankings for the 80s albums, his top 3 In third place, Creatures of the Night. In second place, Music from the Elder. And in first place, Asylum. That's my dude right there.
Nice.
He also notes beside Asylum in parentheses, it says, this time. Absolutely understand.
And I want to give a shout out to all the new members on the group. I believe after last week's show, I got on there and looked, and we had like 25 new requests or so. And
awesome.
Yeah, some of them were some people I invited myself that need to be a part of it. But hey, still cool. Welcome into all those people. Hopefully, you guys are tuning in and checking it out, or at least participating in the polls over there. So what do we got going on? There was definitely some results I am curious to hear about. There's Space Ace Ron. I was waiting to see that.
Yes.
Always the first to say what's up every week. I love it.
It is, yeah. Ronnie is our first guy every time. That is for sure. And there's David Smith. Yes.
What's up, David? Speaking of Space Ace Ron, are you going to go see Ace and Alice Cooper, or have you already? Let us know. Getting ready to go see him on Tuesday here if you didn't catch that. So let us know, man.
Definitely. Yeah, we got some interesting poll results.
What's up, brother?
At least one surprise. Mike, what's going on, man?
Mike gearing up for the big move, bought a new house, getting ready to move, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. All right, so if for some reason this happens to be your first ever Kiss Meets the Podcast episode, first off, thank you. Thank you for clicking. We hope you enjoy what you're watching, and we're going to have a good episode today, so keep on watching. That would be super handy. Tell your friends. Threaten them if you have to. That's what we do. With pitchforks and pencils also. Very stabby, these things. We also have a Facebook page. You can jump over to Facebook, search Kiss Meets the Podcast, give us a like or a follow or a goat or whatever Facebook's doing nowadays. We don't have any goats, so that would be, hopefully that's Facebook's new thing, because that would be nice. We also have a private group you can join, Kiss Meets the Podcast group. You do have to request access, like Eli was just kind of talking about. We approve everybody, so don't let that stop you. Get in there. The reason we have a group is because we like to hold big old Kiss song tournaments, and for some reason Facebook only lets you post polls in groups. So we have our Kiss Meets the Podcast group. We want as many people in there as possible so that you can get in on the latest tournament. The one that we are doing right now is only a few weeks in. It is huge. We are going to be on round 1 for the next year, or maybe even 2, just on round 1. Something like just over 400 Kiss songs, studio songs, live songs. We also included Japanese bonus tracks. Anytime they put out a greatest hits or a compilation that had an alternate version of a song on it, those are in there. So we definitely want your votes. Please go over and check that out. Get access in there. We post 6 new matches every single week. The polls are open for a week. We collect the results the following week. So let's talk about that.
Hell yeah. That sucks, Ronnie, man. But cool that you're going to be seeing Sebastian, though.
Nice.
That'll be a good show, too, definitely.
For sure. Okay, here we go. So last week's 6 matches, we have those results. They just came in today. Here's what we got. We posted Rock and Roll All Night from Dress to Kill versus Let Me Go Rock and Roll from Hotter Than Hell. So both studio versions there. Rock and Roll All Night takes it with 61%.
Oh, thank God. Finally, some love.
I know. I was seeing that it was up against that particular song. I was kind of curious which direction that would go. We also had, this was the big surprise for me. We have Anything for My Baby from Dress to Kill versus Fanfare from Music for the Elder. Which, it's a track. It's not really Kiss, but it's a track on a Kiss album. Anything for My Baby obviously won. With 84% though. So the surprise is Fanfare got like 3 or 4 votes.
Wow.
So awesome. Anybody who picked the Black Sheep answer there, I did not expect that.
Yeah, it's like, do you guys really dislike Anything for My Baby, or are you just trying to help out Fanfare? Is that all,
Right. We also posted Strutter from Alive versus Shock Me from Alive 2. That was a pretty big one. Shock Me takes it with 63%.
Nice.
Yep. Here was our really close match this week. We posted Nothing Can Keep Me From You, which is from the Detroit Rock City soundtrack. I think it was also on one of their greatest hits later on.
I believe it was on the box set as well.
Gotcha.
They threw it on there.
Yeah. And then that, interestingly, was up against In Your Face, which is a Japanese bonus track from Psycho Circus. In Your Face takes that with 52%. Really close.
Wow. Well, Nothing Can Keep Me From You. That may get back in the running. Who knows?
It is completely possible, yeah. We also had Hell or Hallelujah from Monster versus All Night from Asylum. And takes it with 73%.
Wow. I was pulling for Hell or Hallelujah, I'll be honest.
I was surprised to see All Night win, honestly. And then finally, as far as results, we have Come On and Love Me, the remix from Double Platinum, versus I'll Fight Hell to Hold You from Crazy Nights, so the regular studio version. Come On and Love Me takes that with 65% of the vote. Yes. So that is our results. So right now, you can jump over to Kiss Meets the Podcast group on Facebook to vote on the 6 matches just posted today, maybe 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago at this point.
And I finally remembered again to do it before we went live.
to get in on it, yes. A fairly new PSA we've been throwing in here now. Guys, do not be afraid to jump over to YouTube and listen to stuff if you're unfamiliar with what you're seeing. This tournament is almost entirely based on versions of songs. So if you see, for example, one of ours this week is Calling Dr. Love versus Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide. This is the version of Calling Dr. Love from Sonic Boom Disc 2 specifically. So it's not just, well, I like the song Dr. Love better, I'm going to pick that one. Maybe you really do like the Dr. Love from Sonic Boom Disc 2. Pick whichever one you want, but make sure you pay attention to which version we're looking at. And if you're unfamiliar with it, all of this stuff is on YouTube. Jump over there real quick, give it a listen, see what you think. So the 6 that you can vote on right now are Two Sides of the Coin from Unmasked versus Firehouse from Alive.
That's going to be... I feel like that's going to be close, and I'm really pulling for Two Sides.
Yeah, same. Calling Dr. Love from Sonic Boom Disc 2 versus Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide from the Gene Simmons solo album. Young and Wasted from Lick It Up versus Hard Times from Dynasty.
That's a tough one, too.
That's a kicker, yes. Sure Know Something from Dynasty versus Detroit Rock City from the Millennium Concert.
Yeah, see.
Millennium, yeah. Do You Love Me from Destroyer versus Into the Void from Psycho Circus.
Wow.
And finally, Christine 16, again from Sonic Boom Disc 2 versus Ladies Room from Alive 2.
Ooh.
So, yeah, pretty crazy. And just in case anybody, if this is all brand new to you, the songs, the matchups are all completely randomly generated. So if they don't make any sense to you at all, calm down. It's okay. These weren't, we didn't think about it. We thought the only fair way to do this is to make the first round completely random and then let the other rounds kind of sort themselves out as we go. So, yeah, there's going to be some ridiculous matchups. It's fine. If the song's really that bad, it'll get voted out. No problem.
Yeah. And hey, if you really truly love Detroit Rock City that much that it doesn't matter what version or live or whatever, that's fine. Vote. But me personally, it's like, yeah, I love, say, Dr. Love. Yeah, I love it, but there's something about the re-recording that just doesn't hit me the same way as the original, and that's just me. So doesn't mean don't like the song, just that version, because when I know that the original is in the running, let alone the double platinum version, it's like I'm personally going to lean towards those more than, and try to give the other song a chance. That's just me. I'm just not telling you guys how to do it, but there was no issue. There was no wrong way to vote. That's basically all we're saying.
Yes. And we want to hear comments too. Don't be afraid to type comments in why you picked the one you picked, why you didn't pick the one that you didn't pick. As long as nothing gets nasty in the comments, that's the only thing we're straying away from. Honestly, these tournaments are half because it's interesting to see which one wins, but also to kind of celebrate all of our differences of opinions in music. You know what I mean? I am honestly disappointed anytime I see a song get 0 votes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's always people that like that's why it was so cool and surprising to see Fanfare get votes. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know if any of those votes genuinely, I like Fanfare better than anything for my baby.
Right.
Tell us why. We're just genuinely curious. It's a
Yeah.
celebration of why we love this band that we all love.
Yeah. And I don't care if it sounds cliche, but it's true. There is no wrong answer. So we just love to hear all the different sides and points of view of everything because, yeah, sometimes it shocks us. Sometimes it's right along the same line that we think, but we love hearing it either way. So you're going to hear that. You know, you've heard that the last couple of weeks with ranking the albums and the songs. Well, and you're going to hear that again today. I know you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I think that takes care of it all. We're ready to get into it then, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right. So obviously this is going to be a bit shorter this time. Like we said, only 8 albums to choose from this time. But as always, everybody in the chat, we want to know your votes as well as we go. And so this is going to be interesting. 90s to 2010s. All right. So we start off with Revenge. Revenge was my number 2 for this one.
Awesome. I'm blowing it early. It's my number 1.
You know, I was right there too. I was convinced that it was going to be, but it barely got edged out, and I'll explain why when I get to that one. But yeah, there's no doubt Revenge is just a crazy good album. I mean, it was such a kind of a breath of fresh air, to be honest. You know, and again, it's not like, oh, I hated, you know, the stuff that came before, but this felt like a more, you know, and everyone says it, but it's, you know, probably the closest thing to Creatures of the Night that we got since Creatures of the Night, to be honest. On that level of, you know, and it was like Gene finally found his right, you know, position, if you will, you know, for the non-makeup stuff, as far as, you know, even the look and everything. And yeah, they had this cool edge about them, and it was real cool to see. Ronnie's Revenge is also number 1 for him.
Nice.
Probably going to get a lot of number 1s for Revenge, and rightfully so.
Yeah, such a great album from start to finish. The only thing that's a bit of a shame is just, you know, not having Eric Carr on it. And I love Eric Singer. I think his drumming was perfect for this period of the band and for the songs on this album. It just sucks to see Eric Singer or Eric Carr go. You know what I mean?
It does. You know, it's you know, we've talked, you know, the Car Jam thing. Yeah, I love it, always have. But, you know, yeah, could it have been more? Yeah, probably. But you know what? For what it is what it is, you know. And
yeah,
I've loved it since day one, and still love it to this day. And you know, it's a great little nod to Eric, and yeah, pretty cool. So
yeah, I think this is the only album for me out of these. As far as studio albums go, to be fair, not really a skippable track. Even the ones that I'm not so big on, I like Paralyzed is one that is kind of so for me, but I still like it. I get that way with God Gave Rock and Roll. You know what I mean? I like the song, but I get bored with it sometimes or something. But still, this is one that I enjoy very much putting in and listening to start to finish.
Yeah, you know, like I heard God Gave recently, and I don't know what it was. It was just the moment, and like, I don't know, just having the stereo cranked, and just something about the way that song came out and hit me. It just felt so powerful that particular time. You know, it just made me like that song that much more all of a sudden. You know, just
definitely.
Just I don't know, man. It just had this power. Like when that chorus hit, the God Gave, it just felt so powerful, man, and loud, and
That's awesome.
just really, really cool. But yeah, the more and more I listen to this album, excuse me, the more and more I listen to this album too. Yeah, it's getting much easier to listen to the whole thing. I totally agree. It's kind of becoming the next look it up for me is kind of what I compare it to.
Right.
So yeah, great album to start the decade and to start this list because, like I said, I'm sure we got a lot of number ones for this album. So, all right, so we finally getting a live album again in this list, just one of two. So we have a live 3 here. Live 3 was my number 4.
Awesome. Number 5 for me.
Go ahead and explain.
Yeah. So any longtime viewers probably know that I'm just not typically very big on live albums. In fact, I bash on a live 1 and 2 fairly commonly. I don't think the quality is very good. Not albums that I've ever been too big on. Alive 3, however, is hands down my favorite Kiss live thing as far as official albums they put out. Now, honestly, if they had put out a disc of Animalize Live Uncensored, then we might have a little bit of competition. But Alive 3, I love the set list. I even love the set list the way the CD portrays it, even though that wasn't entirely what they were doing at the time. I love the new songs they chose to play. I love how Bruce and Eric play the old songs. Some of those have become standards for me. When I think of the song Watching You, I am almost always picturing what they did with it on Alive 3, which is unusual, but that was just my favorite. So it's still a little bit low on my list because I prefer studio albums over live albums in most cases, but this is absolutely a favorite for me, and Kiss Alive.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I gotta admit, I've always been the bigger fan of Alive 1 and 2, but this one definitely is right up there. I mean, it's just as strong for me. I mean, I pretty much like them all equally. I'll be honest, like all the live albums that came out after this one, I wasn't as big of a fan of, to be honest. I feel like they didn't have that lasting ability as this one does, being the last, like, true Alive to me. But God, just the way the thing opens up with Creatures is amazing, and I love that live version of Unholy. I'm not gonna get too much into the drum thing because I've said that a million times every time we've talked about stuff. How much I love the drum sound on this, and Bruce's guitar tone on this thing, especially with that riff of Unholy at the beginning. It just sounds so mean. Kind of, Domino, that was cool. And then kind of cool to get, even though we got some repeats like Rock and Roll Night, it was kind of weird that it was, kind of in the middle or, more towards the bottom, but not the last song for a change, at least on this, version that we got. Like you said, yeah, Watching You was great. I forget now, was Parasite on this?
Yeah, well, I know they played it at that concert.
Yeah, I know they performed it on the tour, but I can't remember
now whether it's part of
Shoot.
I always forget that.
I can't remember if it was on the actual album now, but either way, that was a great version too that they performed on this same tour. Yeah, so just a solid live album, and I'm glad we have a fairly official type video to go with it, with the confidential stuff. It's obviously not the entire concert, but a good chunk of that stuff, and so it's nice to kind of have that as kind of the visual to go with it, and so many other great soundboard recordings from that era or from that tour, especially to go along with the songs that aren't on this Alive 3 that they were doing on that tour. So Yeah, right there. See, David Smith, bootleg from Binghamton, I mean, New York. Yeah, that was a great one. There's some great, amazing quality soundboard recordings from this tour out there. So yeah, Live 3 holding strong. Okay, so we move into a different live one of sorts, MTV Unplugged. This one is my number one.
Very nice. 6 for me.
Yeah, like I said, I was right there wanting to say Revenge, but something about Unplugged is, it's a special moment. Obviously because it started off the whole reunion thing that people were just waiting like over 15 years to happen. That moment that they, Peter and Ace came walking out, that's just something everyone remembers. It's ingrained in your mind. Um, Not to mention, again, I just again love the overall sound of it. The drums, the guitars just sound so crisp and amazing. And we've said to ad nauseum how much we love the version of Coming Home, but so much better than the album version. Um, and so many great highlights on here. And then of course, it's fun to watch or listen to the full version that includes outtakes and the goofs and all that stuff. That just makes it that much funner.
Definitely agree. This is the biggest one on the list for me that kind of hurts my feelings that I had to put it as low as I did, because it's kind of up there with the Live 3 for me as far as live releases. I'm almost always going to pick studio albums over live, almost always. But yeah, this is another Kiss live release that I always really enjoy. The quality is amazing. All of the sounds are still good. Hearing the songs that they played with all 6 of them on stage is special and awesome in a way we'll never get again, probably. The set list, again, just amazing. The how well some of that old stuff translated to acoustic and stuff they hadn't done in years. Going Blind comes to mind, Coming Home, like you said. I mean, just everything they picked was a smash hit. I'm glad they did it. And probably the only time we'll ever hear Every Time I Look at You live. And it was the perfect opportunity to do that too, to bring out a little orchestra to do that stuff. Just, yeah, spot on.
Yeah, and I was still shocked, to see things like "See You Tonight" get pulled out, and
Mm-hmm.
at the time, "World Without Heroes," because that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, especially "World Without Heroes," that was so shunned upon by them back then, and that. So we definitely got a lot of good nuggets that came out of that show, and it still holds up for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Another thing they'll never do again. Not only songs they'll never do again, but doing a big, huge event like that and doing weird songs.
yeah,
They
yeah.
would never do that now.
It's like no matter how many backstage acoustic things that they've done at all their concerts over the years, none of them even come near what Unplugged was as far as the quality of it and everything else. Yeah, it's a fun little idea to do, but just does not come near.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I wish that maybe they had recorded a lot of this stuff over the years and maybe put out like a compilation of kind of like the best of the acoustic, backstage or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd be more interested in that than another, full blown live album. To be honest, as far as a newer live album,
Right.
keep giving us the off the soundboard stuff. Yeah, I'm all over it.
Mm-hmm.
David asked, "Wasn't there a video with weird camera angles from the tour? Are you talking about the Revenge tour, or I mean, yeah, because there are some pretty good quality pro shot video out there too. But
Yeah.
as far as that, official video that we never got for Alive or Alive 2, we kind of finally got that with Alive 3, and then so on and so forth. But,
Right. And I think most of one of those concerts recorded for Live 3 is on Kissology 3
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
with the real soundboard sound as opposed to the Alive 3.
yeah, yeah. Same. Just I don't know why it's coming up, but that Animalize Uncensored. I guess there's a version out there that has the true audio versus what was on the actual commercial video version. I guess there was a radio broadcast version that is, it sounds different. So, yeah, it's been so long still since I've watched any of those Kissologies. It's like I'm at the point where I start forgetting what was on them now. I'm like, oh yeah, that is on there every time something comes up.
Yeah.
Let's see. David, this is number 3. Totally marked out for this and seeing the Rock and Roll Over floor behind the scene, and then the behind the scenes video.
Yes.
A great stage setup for that. Yeah, I like that little documentary, beforehand, telling the story of everything. And
I will always remember that clip of Gene going, Fraley!
And then the, hi, Pete.
Yeah.
All right. So now we go into, wait for Luke here. All right. So now we go into, Carnival of Souls. Number 5 for me.
Nice. This is my number 2.
All right. Go ahead.
This is such an underrated Kiss album for me personally. I know a lot of people don't care for this one, and I totally get it because it's very different. It's not even anything like Revenge, and I would completely get behind anybody who complains about the production. I don't think it's bad. They've certainly had far worse produced albums than Carnival, but I think a lot of these would have sounded even cooler given a production closer to Revenge or something like that. The bigger bombast as opposed to the stripped down grungy, which to be fair is what they were going for, but I still think it would have gone over better with better production. I think the songs are wildly underrated. I love every single song on that album. I Walk Alone took a little bit of getting used to, if I'm being honest, when I first heard it, but again, it's another album without a skippable moment for me. I've talked about this a few times on the show in past episodes, but a guy who's been my best friend for years and years and years hates Kiss with a passion, can't stand most of anything they ever put out. And I played him Carnival of Souls one time, and he flipped. He's like, I can't even believe this is Kiss. And he still, to this day, listens to that album sometimes.
Nice.
So yeah, you know what I mean? I think that's got to count for something that, sure, maybe it's not what you were expecting or hoping for from them, but it's still Kiss doing what Kiss does, but trying out a new thing. And it really worked for me. I liked it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Great underrated album. I'm glad that it doesn't sound like Revenge. To me, it's got its own heaviness to it that is different from the Revenge sound. Yeah, a lot of sleeper stuff on here. In My Head's become a addictive one. I Confess, love that one. Then kind of the more known ones that we all know: Jungle, Rain, Master and Slave, all that stuff. Number 5 for Ronnie. Cool.
Yeah. Did you see her recently? Bruce shared on Facebook some band. I don't now remember the name of the band, but they had done a cover of Rain, and it was really good.
Wow.
It was a foreign band. Yeah, for sure. But Bruce, I think Bruce shared it on Facebook, and I was curious. And it's kind of like that modern production like I would have loved to have heard the whole album with. And the vocalist sings with a little bit of an accent. It's not distracting, but it's interesting. But he nails those Paul Stanley notes. It's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, the only thing I wish is that we had more, footage from that era, as far whether it was more studio or something. There's, you would think there's footage of the band maybe rehearsing some of the songs together. That's probably the closest thing we'd ever get to live footage of any of those songs, and
right.
As far as Kiss the band itself doing them, and that would be cool to see surface somewhere down the road. Man, I'll tell you, if we ever get a anniversary box like they're doing for Destroyer for Carnival of Souls, man, that that thing would probably be jam packed full of some really cool stuff, you know. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I would kill for any Kiss making of, like a
yeah,
proper hour long or hour and a half long making of an album. I don't know why they never did that. They've done like little snippets and stuff, but
yeah.
man, I love watching stuff like that, and they've never done one.
And I've always said I'm convinced that there's got to be footage from them recording the first album, even like that kind of stuff. Even I would just like kill to see, like,
Yeah,
because we've seen all the pictures, but there's got to be some video clip out there. Come on.
for sure.
But yeah, Carnival, very very solid album, and it's always a shame that it just kind of got rushed out because of the reunion, and had the band continued this way, hard telling what how the road might have changed, but they decided to do the reunion. We all know how that ended up, so you know they kind of ended up not being as happy in the long run. But had they have continued with this, hard telling what could have happened, and what all we could have had next.
Yeah.
Number 4 for David. All right, so Psycho Circus ended up being my number 3.
3 for me as well.
Cool. Yeah, no matter what, this album definitely meant a lot to me because, of course, it was the big, first Kiss album with all 4 members after whatever it was, 15 years at that time or something, and not knowing what we know now until years later, it was just such an exciting thing. I couldn't wait to hear what it was going to sound like, and just the first time laying eyes on that cover and seeing that it was lenticular, I was like, whoa, this is real different. Like, they're really going all out with this, and just everything was just so different. It had this whole different feel from all the Kiss stuff we saw prior to that, in the last however many years. And Psycho Circus itself, that song, so catchy, so great. It's definitely a classic at this point in my eyes. I never get tired of hearing it, to be honest. I've always loved the music video for it too. Such a great looking video. A lot of great stuff on there. Into the Void. We Are One. For what it is, yeah, it's a good song. So
Yeah, definitely agree. Finally, an album that sonically kind of meets the bombast that you think of when you think of a classic Kiss show. You know what I mean? What a perfect sound for their intention of a reunion album.
yeah,
If only it really had been. Yeah, this album has always been really solid for me. It's another one where I don't skip anything, although I'll admit that there are songs on there that I have to be in the mood for in order
right.
to enjoy, like Finally Found My Way, Journey of a Thousand Years. Um, Journey of a Thousand Years was particularly almost a letdown as far as album closers, if I'm being honest, although bringing back the theme from the title track was really neat, something Kiss had never explored before. Um, and this is something we talked about when we reviewed this album not too long ago. The only thing that doesn't put this higher in my book is just it feels so unfocused.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If we had an album that had the title track Psycho Circus and Into the Void and stuff that was developed a little bit better by all 4 members, I think it would have been so much better. I love Within, don't get me wrong, but it fits on Carnival. It doesn't make sense thematically with the rest of the songs on Psycho.
yeah.
I love Pledge Allegiance and Raise Your Glasses, but they're a little bit too similar. I feel like if they would have worked on it together, they wouldn't have ended up just sounding like the obvious Paul song, you know. So it's one of those albums where I have a lot of nitpicky things like that, but it still is objectively a really good album.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, you know, really the first album since uh, basically Destroyer that had like an actual like intro to the album. If you
Mm-hmm.
really thinking about it, that it was nice to hear that after so long. And
Yeah, it
yeah,
sucked you in and took you somewhere else.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's another one that's always been a bit special to me. Again for those reasons of the excitement of hearing but it was my first Kiss concert ever was on that tour, and that was just one. Obviously you're not going to forget your first Kiss concert, and just remembered. Well, thankfully I found another copy of the tour book, but the one I originally had, just the fact that it was the size of like an actual Circus tour book, and I used to just sit and look through that thing constantly, man, just because the pictures are so larger than life, and just the color and everything of all those photos that they did for that session and everything in there. I used to just look through that thing just obsessively, man. And yeah, so another reason that album's kind of got that special spot for me.
For sure.
David, what do you mean, Holy Grail? Let us know there. So we have our last live album of this round of ranking the albums here. We have Symphony Alive 4. This one is my number 7.
7 for me as well.
So we all know this wasn't originally the Alive 4 that we were supposed to get. It ended up being what was called the Millennium Concert was originally supposed to be that one, of course. Honestly, kind of glad that they did that now after hearing the Millennium Concert. It definitely wasn't quite up to par, but this was cool. Don't get me wrong, it's like it's a good listen. It's definitely. Honestly, I think it's funner to experience this by watching the DVD than listening to the album, especially with the whole orchestra and everything.
Yep.
But like I said, it doesn't hold up to me as the way those first 3 Alives do. It just doesn't have that return factor, and where it just feels like, yes, this, good moments. Don't get me wrong. The orchestra thing was a great idea. I remember being kind of excited when I heard the news, and I was kind of down when I found out Ace wasn't going to be a part of it, because I was thinking, oh, this will be perfect with all 4 members. What better way to do this than with all 4? And Thomas, we started around 5:30 there, so I know if you were here at 5:15, we apologize. I know I said 5:15, and we always end up starting a little bit later than we say, so I do apologize. But it was just one of them things that made it a little bit sour, was Ace not being a part of it, because I wanted it to be the 4 original guys doing something this special, because it really did feel like a big deal at the time, the way it was built up, and but for what we got, it was cool. I mean, again, we kind of got a couple little nuggets as far as when they did the ensemble section, and the whole Great Expectations thing. No matter what you think of that song, that was like the highlight for me, because it just worked out so cool. Bringing out the kids, and just the way they pulled that song off, live and everything for the first time. I mean, so definitely some cool moments, but just like, unfortunately for me, it just doesn't have a lot of that go back factor where I'm like, I'm going to listen to this version from Alive 4 versus maybe Alive 2 or 3 or 1, if that particular same song's on there.
Yeah, definitely agreed. It doesn't have that sort of energy and fire and passion that Alive 1 and 2 have. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have the musicianship that Alive 3 has. The track listing might be the coolest part. I'm completely right there with you, because Great Expectations is very much not one of my favorite Kiss songs, but it's one of my favorite parts. Seeing them pull out something that they didn't often do, and then doing it that well, great. So low for me again, because it's not, just like you said, it doesn't have that returnability. It's not something I think about listening to very often. I kind of wish they had left some of the nuggets off of there. Peter playing Forever comes to mind. Definitely not in his wheelhouse at that point in his life. And honestly, like, the orchestra was cool in sections, but not as cool as, like, say Metallica's first S&M concert.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that was just so awesome and special, and it worked with every single song. And then for Kiss, it just didn't quite feel that way sometimes. Sometimes
Right.
it felt like they were nudging their way in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily need to be there. Um, it's not saying that for all of the songs. Some of it worked really well, but yeah, definitely not a go-to release for me.
Right. And the fact that they opened it up with just that standard set, that short standard set there, to me kind of almost unnecessary. It's like,
Yeah, it's like they were afraid to lean all the way into it.
yeah, it's like, I get you gotta squeeze in Deuce and some of them songs that didn't work with the orchestra, but at the same time, it's like, okay, if it doesn't, it doesn't. This is a special event. It needs to be. It has that difference, that different feel to it. I felt like it should have just started off with like the ensemble thing. To start a bit smaller and work their way into the full blown orchestra instead of the whole whatever it was, 5, 6, 7 songs before they started the ensemble. Okay. Oh, okay. David, I see now. I'm sorry, I misunderstood earlier. So he was referring to video of them recording the album, presumably the first album, as a Holy Grail. Yeah, absolutely, dude. That would be one of the most sought after pieces of footage I would kill to see.
Yeah,
All right. And then this album was dead last for David.
got it.
All right, 2 more here. I think we all know what those are. Sonic Boom up first. Number 6 for me.
Nice. Number 4 for me.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, when we did this album again on this go around, this album's definitely earned more respect for me than it used to have. I was always big on saying, "Oh, Monster to me is a better listen," yada yada, but it definitely changed this time. There's more stuff on Sonic Boom that was catching my attention this time around, and definitely growing. I rant and raved about "I'm an Animal" mainly because of that live video I saw. That right there changed my whole opinion on that song. So there you go. Sometimes the live version is better, or just changes your opinion about it, and just such a powerful version on that. Um, yeah, modern day Delilah, good stuff. So uh, pretty solid there. Had we had done this 6 months, a year ago, it probably would have been the opposite. This Monster probably would have been my number 6.
Yeah. This is another kind of underrated one just for me personally. You know what I mean? Now, given once I had become a bona fide, Kiss fan for real, not just because it was playing while I was growing up around the house, that sort of thing, but because it had become a conscious choice for me. I like this band. This was the first studio album that came out after that. So it kind of holds that place for me as well. But even without that lens, looking at it objectively in comparison to the other albums in the discography, I've always really liked this one. I wish that they were a bit younger. That's my only sort of thing against it. I hear too much auto tune in the vocals when I listen to it, and that bothers me sometimes. But this, and I've always argued this. This album is what Psycho Circus should have been,
Yeah,
as far as you can hear the 4 guys in Sonic Boom. You can tell that they recorded those basic tracks in a room together and then overdubbed leads and vocals. You know what I mean? Like they used to do in the
yeah,
early days of Kiss. That it was 4 guys who wrote songs together and then recorded those songs together. And it sounds sonically a little bit similar to the earlier albums, but modernized.
right, right.
um, yeah, so I've always really appreciated this. I think the songs are really good, and I appreciate the thought behind it. And I desperately wish that I liked Monster for the same reason. Yeah,
Yeah. And again, like as far as just like the packaging for the album, especially on the vinyl side, I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. This might be the best packaging they've ever done for any of the albums. Believe it or not. I mean,
Yeah.
my God, the cover is catchy. I know some people have their opinions about it, but it had this gatefold with a cool shot of the band. They put out all these multiple different versions with different colors to
Yeah.
track down, and it came with this great poster of the band. Which how long has it been since a Kiss album came with a poster?
Yeah.
Um, you
Finally,
know,
brand new costumes for the first time
yeah,
since Creatures.
yeah. I mean, they just really went all out. And then on the CD side of things, they had that version that had that disc two of re-recordings, and then it also came with a DVD of some live stuff. And so I mean, they just really went out all out with that album as far as delivering to the fans on the packaging. You don't like I'm an Animal live, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I would have been curious to hear him do Danger Us live. That's see now that's I'm weird on this one because I feel like I've never ran into anybody else that likes that song. I really like that one.
Stan would be interesting live. I almost feel like that one would be better done acoustically or something live.
That could be interesting.
I would kind of like to hear that. All right, moving into the last one is Monster, of course, number 8.
Same.
So bottom of the barrel here. Yeah, everything I just said about Sonic Boom as far as the packaging, complete opposite for Monster, and I have no idea why it took such a turn again for the laziness in the packaging. I mean, at least with the CD version, they went with that lenticular cover again, like with Psycho Circus, so you kind of had that cool effect. Well, they didn't even at least include that for the vinyl. So not only that, it's just it's one record. There's no gatefold. It's just in this plain white inner sleeve, nothing special printed about it. Plain black vinyl, all that. I mean, just boring presentation when it came to that after what they did with Sonic Boom, and even some of this other stuff that's come out since. Whether it's live or what, like they've even spruced up some of those releases, but that's just the nitpicker as far as the vinyl collector and all that stuff. And being a Kiss album, it's like we want to have those goodies that come with the Kiss albums all the time. I wish they would have just done that with every single album, no matter what. But anyway, the music, yeah, Hallelujah, that's a cool track. But for my money, Out of This World's the best song on the album, Tommy's song. Again, people have their opinions and thoughts about Tommy, and they may say they dislike the song just because they say they dislike Tommy. But hey, that's your opinion, and my opinion is it's the best song on the album. It's got that great kind of vintage sound again, like you were saying with Sonic Boom, and it's like I can honestly hear Ace singing it just as well as I can hear Tommy singing it, and Eric's song pretty cool for that matter too. So yeah, Ronnie says Gene's pose on the front cover could have been better. Yeah, I'm sure. Again, with all the photos they did for that session, maybe they could have chosen a better one. Hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah, Monster is one of those that it feels so much like an afterthought, which is weird because that is not how they marketed it at the time.
Yeah.
Every interview you go back and read, they're talking about how they were so excited about how well Sonic Boom did and how good it turned out. They wanted to go back and do it again and build on that. And so by all accounts, Monster should have been just this huge thing that would have been even bigger and better. And yeah, just right off the bat, the songs just aren't as good. Generally speaking, you've named the two really good ones. Hell or Hallelujah and Out of This World, and the rest of them are they're not bad, but
Yeah.
it's nothing really memorable, nothing special, nothing that still to this day when I see those songs pop up in the tournament, sometimes I got to go listen to them to remind myself how they even go,
Yeah.
which is unusual for any Kiss song for me. And the production is a lot muddier. The drum mix is me. A lot of things. Somebody pointed out, I think it was in the comment section of last week's episode, somebody pointed out that the title of the album versus the cover of the album was a huge missed opportunity because the cover of Monster is boring. You know,
Yeah,
the Kiss logo in a gray background with a picture of them, and we've seen it a million times. They did kind of what they did with Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over with the costumes. They modified them a bit, but it was still basically the same costumes. Why is the album even called Monster? Is an excellent question. They could have done something, at least linked the cover to the title,
yeah,
and they didn't. You know, it's like they were like, yeah, slap something on it. Monster sounds cool, whatever. Put a
yeah. I
picture of us
mean,
on the cover. You know?
it kind of looks like they just grabbed them backstage at a show and said, "Hey guys, pose. We're going to take this shot for the cover," and then they just Photoshop the background, and
Yeah.
it's like, and then what did they use for that tour for their staging? That was such a big deal,
Right.
the big spider thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So why wasn't there something like that? No bands put spiders on their covers.
No, 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 no. What they should have done with their cover, honestly, is they should have grabbed some like vaguely attractive blonde and just like overlaid that with spider webs.
Well, Eric's on there. He's technically a blonde, right? So,
Yeah. I think that's what they.
yeah, I get, and I want to say it might have been Carolina that brought that up because I think he was the one that brought up the idea about going and kind of discussing all the different album covers and
Yeah.
kind of getting more in depth to that. I keep looking back because I got a big picture of the Monster cover hanging up.
Nice.
Yeah, at least Eric's got spider webs on his little arm cuff. That's like the closest they got to the whole thing.
Yeah.
David said he marked out for the new costumes, but didn't get the magazine. Yeah, I don't think I ever got the magazine. And to be honest, as far as the costumes, I was a bit disappointed, especially in jeans, because it's basically just the Destroyer suit again, but adding some horns to it or whatever you want to call it. And then a little bit different on the chest piece and everything. But again, it was like it was bad enough for me when he went with that Destroyer suit during Psycho Circus, which now that I look back on those videos, I think he looked real bad in. And then here he is again rehashing that same type of thing. And then even to this day, it's essentially practically the same kind of idea, just a different look to it.
Right.
As far as the texture and Tommy's is essentially the Destroyer suit again, a little different, all that stuff. But yeah, but let's see. Ronnie says, I wonder if any Monster tunes were songs held back from Sonic Boom. Modern Day Delilah sounds like it could have been on Monster. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we've honestly often wondered if a lot of the Monster songs were like B-roll from Sonic Boom, stuff they wrote then, but we're like, yeah, let's use this one instead.
Yeah, and I agree. Like both albums almost sound like they really could be one and the same. It's weird. It's almost like they wrote all those songs in one big cluster and then just separated them into two albums in a way. But I will stand by that it is still a listenable album. I'll give it that. I mean, more in the sense of like, oh, if I'm just sitting here and I want to put something on kind of in the background instead of cranking it up, and Monster's a pretty good choice for that kind of scenario. It's definitely listenable still in that kind of scenario, but like I say, it just doesn't have as many standout tracks as what Sonic Boom does to me now.
Yeah.
David got it on release day. Eat Your Heart Out. Didn't like only, and maybe plans for Monster Energy promotion. Yeah, I know it makes you wonder why they didn't do something with that, because they're practically using the same logo for the album.
Yeah.
That Monster font. Let's see. Thomas's studio rankings 5. Got 3 more there, Thomas, if you could give them to us. Let's see, what are we missing?
Just the best of and live ones, which
Okay.
he pointed out there.
Oh, gotcha. I guess that if I would have read your whole comment there. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, cool. So I guess that wraps it up for Monster then, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now everyone's favorite part. Hey, Robbie, what's up, brother? Just think if Michael James Jackson produced Monster, it would probably be one of their best. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as long as he had pushed him to write better songs.
Yeah. I definitely wish they would have worked with him a lot more. Not that all that stuff that came after is bad, but it's just like, what if, you know? Who
Yeah.
knows? All right, so everyone's favorite part. Oh, real quick though, actually, before we do that, we did get a what do we have here? I love the Eric Singer song on Monster. Yeah, that's a cool one. Very cool. So we did get some input from our buddy Aaron Philpott over on Facebook.
Oh.
He left his rankings and explanation over there, so I'll just run through his rankings really quick. These go from favorite to least favorite is where his list starts. So favorite album is Sonic Boom.
Very nice.
And then we got Psycho Circus, Revenge, Carnival of Souls, Alive 3, MTV Unplugged, Monster, and then Alive 4 coming in as his least favorite. Oops. All right.
I really like the in reference to Thomas's comment there. Yeah, I like that song a lot. I remember being really disappointed at the title of it though. It's too similar to the Eric song from Sonic Boom. I don't understand how they thought that was okay. You tell me nobody saw that and thought maybe it's a little too close.
Yeah.
You know?
And again, I got to give some credit for Eat Your Heart Out because that was something different again that we really never heard on a Kiss album, and cool to get something to catch you off guard.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody in the chat, you know what time it is. We want to know your one favorite song of that entire span of albums, and then your one least favorite song out of those 8 albums. So while we're waiting on that, I will go ahead and also read Aaron's since he's not on here. He left that on Facebook as well. Plus, he gave a really cool explanation, so I will read all that here. So his least favorite song was Back to the Stone Age from Monster, of course. And his favorite song being Unholy from Revenge. Now, he says choosing his favorite song from this era was impossible, as they all have, right?
Yeah.
I chose Unholy because it's probably the song I'd play if I wanted to show somebody how much Kiss kicks ass. It's perfect in every way. Drums, guitars, riffs, solo, vocals, lyrics, all brilliant. Choosing a least favorite song wasn't easy either. I chose Back to the Stone Age because I absolutely hate the chorus. It's not necessarily a bad song. I knew you were gone. Sorry, guys, just a second here. I knew you were gone.
Yeah. Yep.
I had a hunch, and I clicked back over. Sure enough.
Of course, Robbie, you're missing MTV Unplugged.
So again, he says choosing his least favorite song wasn't easy either. He chose Back to the Stone Age because he absolutely hates the chorus. It's not necessarily a bad song. However, in my mind, if one word was changed, it would make a world of difference. Rather than I'm going back to the Stone Age, I would prefer you're going back to the Stone Age, back where you belong. And it would be a message to and an attack on all the other bands still clinging on to life by the skin of their teeth, everyone other than Kiss. I actually can't believe the critics let them get away with that lyric. It's proof that critics don't even listen to music. The review would go, dinosaur rock band Kiss claim they're going back to the Stone Age, back where they belong, and that suits it just fine. 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another Unholy as a favorite for Ronnie. Stand as his least favorite. Robbie's least favorite is Finally Found My Way. And then favorite
Debbie
being
Downer.
Rain.
That's good.
Thomas, again, best song can only be Unholy. All right, so what is your favorite song?
I also went with Unholy. Yeah, I gotta completely agree with Aaron there. I mean, that was Kiss finding its way back. You know what I mean? It says something when they let a Gene song open an album. You know how few times that happened throughout their career, and when you get one as strong as that, you better bet there's a good reason why it's the one opening the album. I love everything about the album. I love Gene's vocal delivery. The production is perfect. Bruce's solo is perfect. Perfect way to open an album. It's such a fist pumper. You know what I mean?
What's up, Chris the Giant?
Yeah. Looks like Chris is missing one too. What are we missing?
He is missing Live 4.
Yeah.
We'll assume that's your least favorite. Or he's getting ready to type it because I see a 7 typed after Monster. Unplugged is between Revenge and Sonic Boom for Robbie. Thank you.
I need to get okay. I'm just gonna retype Robbie's. Huh?
Okay. So I went with the group this time as well. I also chose Unholy as my favorite. You know, I honestly wanted to, of course, go with Coming Home from Unplugged, but I was like, I'm trying to be more true to the actual studio albums on these things, so I feel like it's more fair to choose a favorite song from what's considered the new stuff, per se. So I definitely went with Unholy. I mean, again, first time you ever heard that, and that weird intro comes in, and then that as soon as that guitar riff hits the first time, it just blows you away, and you're like, okay, we're in for something different here.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? This is way different from what I heard on the last album and the couple albums before. That right there just said it all. Looking at the front cover, even though it was just text, like just something about it just looked mean and menacing, and then you flip it over and see the band on the back, and you're like, okay, now this looks different too. They're not wearing these vest jackets and like dressed up all nice like they were on the last album, and and then what's this new drummer? He's blonde on top of that. That's different. Just so much caught you off guard. But the song itself, Unholy, yeah, like I said, this version, the Live 3 version, I'll take either way. You can play both of those songs back to back for an hour straight, and I won't get tired of hearing it. Just such a great song. So cool. Gene just back to true form on that one too. All right. Chris says Dangerous is the Bohemian Rhapsody of Y2K and beyond. So David's best song, Thou Shalt Not.
Very nice.
And then least is Finally Found My Way. We've had a couple votes for that now. Chris, let us know yours. So what is your least favorite out of all these?
Well, turns out I managed to somehow copy Aaron Philpott exactly. Back to the Stone Age. Also, my least favorite. I wish I had such an eloquent reason why, as Aaron did. Yeah, I think we talked about this when we reviewed Monster not too long ago. In addition to me just not necessarily finding most of the songs on Monster to be special. This one stands out as being under the rest for me just because the lyrics are so dumb.
Yeah, yeah,
I just absolutely cannot handle reading those lyrics and again thinking of those guys looking at that and thinking, yeah, that's okay, that makes sense. Nobody's going to think that this is weird or stupid, and especially this idea that it's because they recorded the album on tape instead of digital.
yeah.
Jeez, what a cringy take,
I I definitely enjoyed Destroyer Resurrected much more, which pretty much came out around the same time as this album, if I remember right. So,
Yeah. Yep.
That's a great choice. That's one that kind of crossed my mind. There's obviously a bunch, but the one that stuck out with me the most, I had to go with Journey of a Thousand Years. Because again, I just feel like that song, talk about songs that don't even match the theme of the album with Psycho Circus. That one takes the cake for me. What does that have to do with anything to do with the Psycho Circus and all the other songs that came before it? It's just, it's not the best kind of song for Gene, in my opinion, to be doing. Just boring, meaningless, nothing to do with the album. It's just a throwaway for me. They could have easily threw the other Ace track on there and I'd have been more happy, or one of the other songs that they put in the dumpster that are floating around out there as demos or songs that didn't make the album. I'd have rather had one of those, to be honest. But yeah, just that one was one of the first ones that popped in my head, and just not a fan of it. It's always hard to let the album finish out, being that that's the last song every time if I do put on the whole album, but I just kind of begrudgingly make it through.
Yeah, what an anticlimactic ending.
Yeah. It starts with such mystique, and then it just gets that heavy and grooving with Psycho Circus, and then you end with something like that. It's just like, huh? And then, like, technically we don't get anything until Modern Day Delilah, and it's like, at least that picks it back up if you listen to them in that way. But
yeah.
Paul Stanley ruined Monster with the production, says Chris.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I don't know who mixed that album. I would almost more blame it on whoever mixed it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I forget who Eric said mixed as far as the drums go, because he said it at the expo that one year when we mentioned about he wasn't happy with his drum sound either, and he said, I forget the name, blame it on some such and such. They're the ones that mixed them or something like that. But
right.
They should have had a close up of Paul. Jeez, defective here for the Monster
Ouch. Woo.
Again, go visit Kiss and Tails channel. Send all hate mail to them.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh God, I love it. All right. Well, I guess we're done. Like we said, shorter and sweeter this week. Less albums to go through. So that was a cool little side thing there to go through all the albums by decade, and especially the song thing. Wow. So what do we have as far as the final results for this thing?
Yeah, interesting. Not super surprising, I think. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Unholy got the most votes for number one song. Looks like as far as least favorite, both Back to the Stone Age and Finally Found My Way got 2 votes apiece. So tie there. We also got votes from Steve McGowan, our pretty frequent contributor that you guys, I think he's the only one in votes that aren't here in the chat you can look at.
I thought he was going to say he's pretty freaky.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, he is pretty freaky. Steve's a freaky man. His top 3 in third place was Unplugged, in second place Psycho Circus, and in first place Revenge. His favorite song was Psycho Circus, and his least favorite song was Yes I Know Nobody's Perfect.
Oh, See, that's another good one.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So putting together everybody's votes in here, and thank God several of you came in kind of last minute here. I've actually done up these scores in places three times because I thought we were done, and then but there was a bunch of ties every time except for this most recent one. So awesome. Hate ties. Dead last, if you put all of our votes together this round, just barely is Alive 4. A little bit surprising. Coming in pretty hot on the heels of that, though, in seventh place is Monster. Big leap then to sixth place is Sonic Boom. In fifth place, another pretty decent sized leap in score. Fifth place is Alive 3. In fourth place, Carnival of Souls. So our top three then in third place is Psycho Circus. Second place, MTV Unplugged. And with a pretty decent sized lead, Revenge in first place.
Nice. Not surprised there, yeah.
Yep.
Now I'm curious, is it possible to say between 70s, 80s, and what we did today as far as favorite, least favorite? Can we figure out which song out of the whole thing got the most votes for each category?
Ooh, since I don't think anybody ever picked any live songs that were like era spanning, so I don't think we ever got multiple votes across, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Each time, people always voted for the songs that were from the era.
So it'd be fair to say Unholy probably won the whole thing, since how many people named it the favorite song of the decade today?
Yeah, that's true. I think we got like looks like 5 votes for Unholy. Yeah, I don't think any other favorite song got that many.
Okay, that's why I was curious if. So then, as far as least favorite, I don't know. It might be a tie. So I know a few. It seemed like a few of them had multiple choices every time, but I'm not sure.
Right. Let me look across those real quick. We'll see. Okay, so the 80s had 2 votes for My Way, 3 votes for My Way, and 2 votes for Read My Body. So I guess My Way lost 80s worse than anything lost this one. And then 70s. See, When You Wish Upon a Star got 2 votes. Oh, Hold Me, Touch Me got 3 votes as well.
Oh.
So I guess overall, Hold Me, Touch Me, and My Way kind of tied for the whole thing. That's fair.
Both Paul songs.
Yeah.
See, Paul, it's not always good to win every category.
That's right. That is right. So I'm curious now if anybody, us included, is brave enough to maybe cap this thing off next week by ranking all of it.
Oh, Lord.
That would be super tough, but kind of do the same thing. What's your favorite Kiss song of all, and your least favorite Kiss song of all, and can you rank all the albums that we've included in each segment? We'll have to count that up and see what they are. If we put that all in one, what happens then?
Wow. I was thinking even a bit harder than the favorite least is like if you listed your top 10, like your top 10
Ooh.
least favorite, or
Yeah,
top 10 favorite, even, because even that could get difficult trying to figure out even your 10.
Yeah, I think that's its own episode. Even I
Yeah.
think we could do top 10 Kiss songs and then bottom 10 Kiss songs as an episode. That would be really cool.
Probably we could probably lump in like the album covers too, like what's your top 10 favorite album covers and least favorite.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, we may do that next week, or we may hold that back for a few and Thomas says only studio albums.
It is a little easier to count all those because when you start throwing in the live albums now, you got to figure out, okay, do we use Millennium Concert? Do we use Vegas? You know, like, yeah, I can see where that now the live albums is where you start adding gray area.
Yeah.
Although Greatest Hits also, you know, do you include Double Platinum? Do you include Killers? Do you include Smashes? What about Kiss 40? What about Greatest Kiss? You know, like.
Yeah. I know Millennium would be in my top 10 as far as least favorite album covers. That's one horrible Photoshop job on that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't know if we're going to want to jump into that again next week, or we may take a slight curve and go for something different and then come back to that in a few weeks or so. Because, you know, we do have some other ideas that's popped up as well as other possibilities, you know, maybe another review or something. But again, we'll just kind of go back to, like we said before, make sure you stay posted to our Facebook page, and we'll be sure to announce, you know, within a day or two of the show, what exactly we are doing, so you guys can be prepared for that. So please be sure to stay posted to that. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Again, go over to Kiss and Tale, Tale, their YouTube channel. Check out the episode that Luke and I were on. Check them guys out. Can't wait to do the next one. And yeah, so I think that wraps it up. All righty. Thanks everyone for stopping in this week. And we'll see you next week for the next show.